What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve.
I'm Lindsay.
Today we're going to be reacting to why Halloween's really British. Seeing how Halloween is tomorrow, we thought it was only fitting that we dive in and learn about the true origins of Halloween. Where do all the things that we do on Halloween every year come from?
Yeah.
From the trick-or-treating to the carving of pumpkins and so forth.
Dressing up.
The dressing up, obviously. Yes. What do you know about the origins of Halloween?
I know, isn't the actual holiday called Samhain? Or
Well, I think
that's how it's pronounced.
that's where it came from originally. Obviously, Halloween and Samhain, I don't think they're known to be the same holiday today. I think that, Samhain was a festival, a Celtic festival.
I was going to say that's the only other thing I really know about Halloween is that the origins are Celtic.
Right.
But,
right. So,
other than that, no.
Yeah, so this should be interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just go ahead and dive in here and check out why Halloween's really British.
Let's do it.
Made you look. But now that I've got your attention, why not stick around and find out where Halloween really comes from? Or are you too much of a scaredy cat?
Oh my goodness.
Despite what many Brits think is an American invention, as it turns out, it's actually the Scots who were the original trick-or-treaters. It's believed that the origins of what we call Halloween can be traced back to the ancient festival of Samhain, which was celebrated by the Celts on November 1st.
November
that's
1st.
right. It was November 1st.
Isn't that what we call All Saints Day?
Yes.
Here in the
I wonder if that has something to do with that as well. I don't know.
Samhain translates into summer's end in Gaelic and marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. The Celts also believed that on the night before Samhain, the veil between the worlds of the dead and the living was at its thinnest, and that spirits, ghouls and fairies would visit.
Oh, there's All Saints.
By the 7th century, pagan Celts had been successfully converted to Christianity. The church had found that the best way to convert pagans was to come up with a similar but not quite the same alternative to an already existing calendar celebration. So the Christian All Saints' Day was moved to November 1st, which, yep, you guessed it, just happened to be the same day as Samhain. Interestingly, by 1550, Samhain had been absorbed into the Christian festival of All Saints, also known as All Hallows' Day. Celebrations retained much of the pagan character, offering both joyful celebration and somber contemplation of death. In fact, the word Halloween itself might sound like it has pagan roots, but the etymology is actually Christian and is a contraction of All Hallows' Eve.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
By the 17th century, the principal autumn gathering in England had become Bonfire Night on November 5th, after Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament.
That's something I want to learn about too.
Episode on this, which I highly recommend. So the English were like, hello, what now? But Halloween continued to grow in popularity in areas that had a strong Celtic heritage, especially Scotland, who clung to the aura of ghostly happenings and romance that the night held. Yes, romance.
I heard that. I heard that a lot of people didn't really celebrate Halloween all that much in the UK because they're going to have Bonfire Night just a few days later.
Right.
And so that kind of makes sense. Because, I mean, when you know what Bonfire Night is, because I've obviously looked into that, but you haven't, it's pretty wild in a lot of areas.
As it turns out, Halloween can tell you a lot about your love life. Many of the modern-day Halloween celebrations, such as trick-or-treating and carving lanterns, can be traced back to the original Scottish celebrations, many of which are described in the poem Halloween, written by the Scottish poet Robert Burns in 1759. Duking, or bobbing for apples, was a common pastime on Halloween, but apples were mostly used to reveal clues about one's future spouse, which is what most pre-industrial rural teenagers spent their days thinking about.
Okay, so, how does that work? How does an apple tell you about your future spouse?
I don't know.
If anyone knows, let us know in the comments.
The color, I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, what?
The color of the apple, the shape, I don't know. Maybe.
What did the color and the shape have to do with your future spouse?
I don't know what the key was.
Oh, you're saying a certain
Different
shape or certain...
characteristics.
No, it couldn't have been that. It has to be something else to it than that.
I don't know. You tell us.
Yes, I have no idea.
I mean, they didn't have Facebook. There were many variations when it came to apple divination, including apple bobbing, where the first to pick the apple out of the water using only their mouth would be the first to marry. Slicing the apple into 9 pieces where the future intended would magically appear to take the final slice. Eating an apple while simultaneously combing your hair in front of a mirror would not only show that you were well coordinated, but also show you the face of your true love in the reflection. And my personal favourite, attempting to peel an apple in one motion without breaking the skin. Toss it over your shoulder and it would land in the shape of a letter from your future betrothed's name.
That's cool. That's interesting. But I can do that, by the way. It's like slice an apple all the way around like that.
Really,
can
without cutting it? The skin is so thin usually nowadays.
I guess it depends on the type of apple.
Yeah, it would be harder with certain varieties.
Yeah, like the really thin ones, yeah.
I used to try this one when I was a little girl every Halloween. I don't know, something about it was just so appealing. I pare this apple round and round again, my sweetheart's name to flourish on the plane. I fling the unbroken pairing over my head. My sweetheart's letter on the ground is red. Yeah, guys, any ideas?
Wait.
Later, apples found popularity.
Hold on. So, was it supposed to be a letter on the ground?
Originally, I thought she meant you threw the apple and the apple busted into a letter, which I was like, how is that going to happen?
No, I
but
don't
now
think
that
so.
makes more sense with the peel.
Yeah, so...
Whatever it lands in, like the closest letter it resembles, I guess.
I mean, like, I just can't picture that actually becoming a letter.
When Halloween was brought to America by Irish and Scottish immigrants, and apple juice became the standard drink at Halloween celebrations, often served alongside popcorn, donuts, and pumpkin pie. Well, what did you expect? This was America, people.
Do you guys do pumpkin pie over there very often this time of the year? You know, that's something that's very popular here. I love it, but I never had it until Lindsay made it maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that.
I can't believe you had never tried it until then.
I had never eaten apple pie either until her. And that's supposed to be, the American thing, even though it wasn't invented in America, I found out.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that is something that's, American is apple pie. But somehow I had just never eaten apple pie either. Just growing up, I was never a fan of the fruit desserts. I was always like the chocolate stuff.
I'm not a huge pie fan.
I love pie. Oh, I love pie.
But I do like pumpkin pie.
With some homemade whipped cream.
It's one of the healthier options.
Yeah, it really is. I like also something Lindsay creates, and that's pumpkin rolls.
Oh, I haven't made it in a long time.
Yeah.
It's good.
And we're going to be skipping that this year, obviously, but they'll be back next year. Absolutely.
The original Scottish version
Guising.
of trick-or-treating was called guising, where children would venture out disguised as evil spirits so they could walk undetected by the wicked ghouls.
I remember hearing
Instead
that.
of going door to door and simply yelling, "Trick or treat!" they would be expected to perform a song, poem, or some other entertaining trick before being rewarded with treats, often food, drinks, coins, or soul cakes, which were small round spiced seed cakes with currants on top and were specific to Halloween. In the spirit of all this, I thought I could perform the monotonous souling song, which was often performed by children on All Saints' Day when they went from house to house. Soul, soul, soul cake, good mistress, give us a soul cake. One for Peter, one for Paul, and one for them has made us all. Thank you. Thank you. Too kind.
That's interesting.
That is really
that
interesting.
you had to perform. Maybe you
Yes.
still do. I don't know. Do you guys do this?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Here, it's pretty easy to go.
Some kids
amass
don't even
energy.
do trick or treating. They just
Yeah,
go up.
they just show up and hold out the bag. And,
There you go.
but yeah, I could see that would be. It's more rewarding because you actually have to work for it a little.
But I think about what it must have been like back, whenever the root started, thousands of years ago, right? They're doing this trick or treating, if you will. They're dressed up to basically disguise themselves from the spirits that are out and about. And you think about how exciting it would have been for a kid to probably get some sort of piece of fruit.
Very special.
A piece of fruit, right? Like, we look at it today and it's like just a bunch of commercialized chocolate brands, Reese's and, all these other brands.
Yeah.
Reese's is the one that I think about the most here in the U.S. because that's the best one here in the U.S., honestly. But There's so many and all the sugary sweet stuff. But like there was a point in time. Actually,
where it was more rare to receive something sweet or something.
Right. They probably received more of like the stuff that wasn't sweet more often. Like they probably received a coin or something like that. Or so I have no idea what they would have received honestly back then. But I'm guessing even if you go back to like, 100 years ago to get like actual treats that you would describe as a treat today would be completely different. Like it was probably more like fruit and stuff back then, and probably not as many houses and things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like back however long ago, you wouldn't have had as many houses to visit.
No.
So now it's like one neighborhood you could hit.
Yes.
50 plus houses here.
And guys, I don't know how it is over in the UK, but here, this is another holiday that has now started stretching out. Like it started, Christmas used to be like here, at least in the US, I don't know what it's like in the UK regarding when people started putting up their trees and stuff, but it used to be after Thanksgiving here, which is like late November. People would get the tree and, all that right after Thanksgiving usually. And then it'd be for about a month, really. Now, our neighbor up the street has a Christmas tree up, and it's not even Halloween yet. But I also wanted to say,
it depends on the person.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's how our holidays have started stretching out. And now Halloween, for example, we just went to a Halloween thing with Sophia a couple days ago. And there's
almost every single night there's something.
There's almost every single night there's something leading
like
up to that.
Like the week of leading up to
Yeah, like there's like
sometimes
something
multiple things.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
it's pretty intense and pretty crazy how many times you may dress your child up to go to these little events. But let us know in the comments, do you guys notice that your holiday, specifically Halloween in this case, is tending to have more and more stuff leading up the week of?
Neep lanterns.
Originally, large bonfires would have been held to ward off evil spirits on Halloween and have said to have been the inspiration behind the carved pumpkin lanterns we use today.
Neeps and tatties, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It's either parsnips or turnips.
Yeah.
And I want to say parsnip.
Right. Oh, for some reason I had this in my head. I don't know what I know about this, but I know the neeps. Maybe it's from the neeps.
We did some kind of quiz one time, and that was one of the questions. What's neeps and tatties mean?
Okay.
And it was like parsnips and potatoes or something.
Right.
However, before the introduction of pumpkins, which are actually native to America, Scotland and in fact most of the UK carved lanterns out of neeps, otherwise known as turnips.
Turnip.
Oh,
Even when I was
wow.
a girl, we carved turnips instead of pumpkins. You can see why this one won, can't you?
That's wild.
I feel like it would be really difficult to carve.
Wouldn't they be harder?
What was it, a turnip?
Yeah. Wouldn't they be solid? Like really solid?
Yeah, they are. Kind of like a sweet potato almost.
Yeah. That's wild. Like, I didn't know that. So you guys like may have, well, I'm guessing at this point you guys probably grow pumpkins on a regular basis this time of year now, but I didn't know that was something that actually started in America.
I didn't either.
I just assumed, I guess, pumpkins were everywhere.
Throughout much of the 20th century, Halloween in Britain has been a bit of a non-event. But in recent years, American-style celebrations and popularity have found their way over here. And thank goodness for that. I mean, have you ever actually tried to carve a turnip? I did every year up until the age of about 20. And that was just spent on one turnip. Also, FYI, we don't commonly call pumpkins jack-o'-lanterns. They're just pumpkins to us Brits, with or without a scary face carved into them. Also, we like to stick to the spooky theme of Halloween when it comes to our costumes. So no cowboys or sexy librarians, just good old-fashioned monsters and ghosts. Trick or treat if you dare, but be prepared to have a grumpy anti-trick-or-treater answer the door and give you nothing but a piece of their mind. Yeah, there are still a few haters out there. Basically, if there's a pumpkin on the doorstep, then there's probably a bowl of candy, or as we call them, sweets, ready and waiting. With Halloween being my favourite time of the year, I'd love to know how you celebrate. Or maybe All Saints' Day is more your vibe.
That was eye-opening. I think the turnip thing, I want to see those carved.
Yes, I do too. I can imagine. I want to see if they're on the doorstep of somebody's house.
I feel like you would have to. Well, maybe they could be rounded. Sometimes they're pointed, though, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah. But guys, this was interesting.
Yeah, It definitely makes me want to look deeper into it, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is just scratching the surface.
Yeah, like I
There's probably a
have
lot
different
more.
questions. Like, for example, like, what was it about the apples when you're bobbing for apples?
Yeah.
How did that determine who your spouse was going to be?
It seemed like there were some really cool traditions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, really cool. You wonder where those got their start. Like, why all of a sudden, like, what was it about an apple in a bowl of water that could tell you your spouse who they were going to be in the future? Or throwing, like, where did that come from? You know, I always wonder that with these types of traditions. Where does these, like, who started these? Like thinking about, oh, throwing an apple peel behind my back on the floor is going to show a letter, like, for your, like, where does stuff like that come from? Even though you know a lot of it stems from a particular festival, where did the individual traditions get their start? Not just the origins,
Like, it had
like
to start with
Samhain,
someone.
but like someone
something
actually saying,
prompting it.
yes, exactly. Like, where did they come up with that? It's just interesting to think about. But there's a lot of traditions and holidays. Another one's Christmas, man. Christmas got so many little traditions that you got to wonder who thought of them and where did they exactly come from. But anyways, guys, enough rambling from us. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey to discover anything and everything about the UK and Ireland. Until next time, guys, peace.
Bye.